Okay, picture this. A headline just dropped. Feels like it's straight out of, I don't know, next week's newsfeed. A huge shakeup is happening in the world of self-driving cars and ride-hailing. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are definitely diving deep into a pretty massive partnership that was announced July 17th, 2025. It's this huge collaboration aiming to, well, reshape how we get around cities.
Yeah, and our goal here is really to unpack these, let's call them ambitious claims. We want to scrutinize the details, figure out what's genuinely significant.
And maybe what should make you pause a bit.
Exactly. What should make you raise an eyebrow about this whole deal? We're trying to get beyond just the corporate press release and understand what it actually means for you.
Mm.
Whether you're just into future tech or maybe thinking about investments or just, getting from A to B.
So who are the big names involved here? We've got Uber, obviously, the global ride-hailing giant.
Right. Then there's Lucid Group, Inc. They make those high-end electric cars.
The luxury EVs, yeah. And Nuro, Inc., which is an autonomous vehicle tech startup. So buckle up, because the announcement itself sounds pretty impressive at first glance. So let's get into it. The big reveal. Uber, Lucid, Nuro, they've partnered up. They're calling it a next-generation premium global robotaxi program.
Premium and global. And it's exclusive to Uber's platform.
Exclusively for Uber, yeah.
And the scale they're talking about is, well, it's bold. Uber says they plan to deploy 20,000 or more Lucid vehicles. These cars will have the Nuro driver system integrated.
20,000. Over 6 years.
Over 6 years. And they're moving fast. The first launch is apparently set for later next year in a major U.S. city, which, that timeline feels incredibly tight for something this complex.
Really tight. Now, each company, predictably, played up their strengths in the announcement. Uber talked about its, quote, vast global network and dynamic fleet management.
70 countries, 34 million trips a day on average. That is vast.
It is. And their CEO, Dara Khosrowshahi, sounded pretty pumped about safely bringing the magic of autonomous driving to more people.
Right. Then Lucid chimed in, highlighting the industry-leading software-defined vehicle architecture of their Gravity SUV. Basically, their cars are designed to be very adaptable via software.
Which you need for this kind of tech integration.
Absolutely crucial. They're saying it's ideal for ride-sharing, spacious, redundant systems for safety, and that long range, 450 miles EPA estimated. That's a big number for EVs.
Yeah, range is key for taxis. Their interim CEO, Mark Winterhoff, framed it as moving into a multi-trillion-dollar market and being picked for their EV technology leadership.
And Nuro. They're pushing the scalability and proven capability of their Nuro driver system. Level 4 economy.
Level 4. So that's the real deal, theoretically. No driver needed under specific conditions.
Right. It's a huge step up from assisted driving. Nuro says they've spent almost a decade on their AI system, calling it safe, scalable, and vehicle agnostic. They also mentioned 5 years of driverless deployments across different U.S. cities.
Okay, proven is a strong word there. We might need to circle back on that. Their CEO, Jiajin Zhu, said this partnership will show what's possible when proven AV technology meets real-world scale.
And financially, Uber's putting $300 million into Lucid.
That's a decent chunk of change.
It is. And Nuro's also getting a multi-hundred-million-dollar investment. Though the announcement wasn't specific on the source, other reports linked it to recent funding rounds. The market definitely reacted. Lucid stock jumped, 36% that Thursday?
36%? Wow. Uber stayed flat, though.
Yeah. So big money, big promises.
Okay, so let's start peeling back the layers here. That's the shiny press release version. When you started digging, what was the first thing that made you go, wait a minute?
Well, the really glaring thing, honestly, is Lucid's background. Or rather, lack of background in autonomous vehicles.
Okay.
While Nuro obviously brings the self-driving tech, Lucid, the company actually building the car, they have, and this is direct quote effectively, 0 hours of real road driving using the self-driving system from Nuro.
0 hours. So Lucid themselves have basically no experience making AVs.
None. Nada. In terms of actually integrating and operating this kind of system on their platform in the real world, it's a pretty massive detail to just kind of gloss over.
That is a huge point. And that lack of experience immediately makes you question the production side of things, right? The numbers.
Exactly. Look at their track record. Lucid made about 9,000 cars in 2024. Their target for all their cars, the Air and the Gravity combined, for 2025 is around 20,000.
20,000 total production.
Total. Now, this Uber deal calls for 20,000 or more cars just for this robotaxi program. spread over 6 years.
So, I mean, even spread out, that's a huge commitment relative to their current entire output.
It's a massive slice of their production capability. And remember, this is for a company that, as we just said, hasn't done this before. Even their own interim CEO called it a completely new market for them.
That completely new phrase really jumps out now, doesn't it? It highlights just how big a step this is for Lucid.
It really does. It's almost like they're launching a separate, highly complex tech venture within their existing operations.
Okay, and what about Nuro side? They talk about 5 years of deployments, level 4 tech, but there's a detail about the prototype.
Right. So they do have a prototype, a Lucid vehicle with the Nuro system, but it's currently operating autonomously on a closed circuit.
Ah, closed circuit. Not exactly downtown traffic.
Not even close, which raises the question, how much does Nuro's previous experience, which, let's be clear, was mostly those small delivery pods, how much does that really transfer to putting their system into a full-size passenger SUV for robotaxi services?
Different vehicle, different mission entirely.
Completely. And their safety plan, it involves simulations, closed course testing, okay, standard stuff, but then supervised on-road testing.
Supervised, meaning a human safety driver is still involved.
Exactly. Which is quite different from the fully driverless service they're promising to launch relatively soon. It feels like there are several big steps missing between supervised testing and 20,000 driverless taxis on city streets.
It does. And for anyone listening who might be thinking about Lucid stock after that 36% pop, there's some pretty blunt advice floating around.
Yeah, the analyst take seems to be pretty clear. Until there are real-world examples of this car working, this is not a reason to buy the stock at Lucid, and the stock should be avoided.
Doesn't get much more direct than that. Avoid the stock.
Nope. It highlights the risk, the uncertainty around execution here.
It's also maybe useful to compare this to what Uber's already doing, isn't it?
Definitely. Uber already has a partnership with Waymo, which is backed by Alphabet, Google's parent company.
And Waymo's tech.
Also level 4. And importantly, Waymo's service is already operating and expanding in real cities like Atlanta and Austin with actual passengers.
So Uber has an existing partner with a proven, deployed level 4 system, which makes this new deal with Lucid Nuro seem, well, it adds context.
It has a lot of context.
Mm.
It shows what a more mature AV partnership looks like.
Mm.
And just to be clear, we're not talking about systems like Tesla's Autopilot or FSD supervised here. Those are level 2. They require driver attention. This Uber Lucid Nuro plan is aiming for true level 4 driverless operation. The stakes and the technological hurdles are much higher.
So wrapping your head around all this, what's the big picture takeaway? It feels like this huge ambition clashing with some pretty stark realities on the ground.
That's exactly it. You've got this grand vision backed by significant money, yes, but it's facing these massive hurdles. Primarily the lack of specific integrated real-world experience, especially for Lucid and AVs, and for Nuro in this type of passenger vehicle deployment at scale.
It's not just a leap of faith. It sounds more like launching themselves out of a cannon hoping the net appears.
Something like that. The challenges are enormous. The scale, 20,000 vehicles, isn't trivial. The timeline launching next year is incredibly ambitious. And the integration, getting Nuro's brain to work flawlessly and safely in Lucid's body for a service the public will use, that's the multi-billion-dollar question.
And this is why you, listening, should probably pay attention. It's not just corporate maneuvering. It's a real-time case study in evaluating these bold tech promises.
Right. How do you assess the risk? How do you see the potential future of how we move around cities actually taking shape or potentially hitting some major roadblocks? These kinds of deals are where the rubber meets the road or doesn't.
Okay, so to sum up this deep dive, the Uber Lucid Nuro Robotaxi announcement sounds groundbreaking. Huge scale, premium service, big names.
But the details reveal it's heavily based on promise, not yet on proven integrated performance in this specific context, especially given Lucid's complete lack of AV experience in those production numbers versus the commitment. It's a vision that needs a lot more real-world validation.
So here's something to think about. As you see more of these huge tech and auto announcements, because there will be more, what kind of proof do you look for? What separates something genuinely game-changing from something that's, well, mostly just aspiration at this stage? What really stands out to you about this particular partnership, knowing what we've unpacked today? Think of what proven really means when we're talking about technology that's going to operate on public streets.